to our first edition of what will be a recurring. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our Meet the Habs video series. Tonight we have as our guest Luc Deschenes. Luc, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So, Luc, you've had a very interesting year playing hockey, and I think we're going to explore about the year that you're having this year and also some of your past years. And Luc, I have to say that I had the pleasure of watching you as a very young player back in Adam. My son played on one of the teams that you played on, and they had a really good team that year. And Luc, I remember watching you play as an Adam player, and I can remember the coaches used to say, they'd look up the scoreboard, maybe down a goal or two, and they'd tap you on the shoulder and say, Luc, we need a goal. You'd go out end to end and score a goal. And I don't know, you must have 50 or 60 goals that year. Had a really strong year. And just watching your career as it's developed since then, you've had a really incredible hockey career, and it looks like the future's very bright. So just like to say thanks for coming in and be willing to have this discussion with us, because I think there's some people that will be watching this video who will learn a little bit about your background and what's made you tick as a hockey player. So let's start by going back in time and talk a lot about when you started playing hockey. How old were you, and what was the trigger that got you interested in hockey?
I started playing hockey at a young age, like on the ponds with my grandfather and my dad and mom, and just my family kept me into hockey, so I just kept going with it.
Yeah. Now your family, I know on your mom's side that there's a lot of athletes and some very talented athletic ability in the family. So I know some of your uncles played, so I remember talking to your mom about some of your uncles that were really good athletes. So is that the case? Did any of those people influence you to get involved in sports, or is it just a natural thing for you and your family?
It was natural, and both my uncles played football and hockey younger. My grandfather was really into hockey, and just I guess my own grew to like it as I started playing.
Okay. So you've played through the Fredericton system, so you've played right from the youngest ages, like at the Tim Bit novice level, all the way up through now to Midget AAA. And tell me, during the time, I'm thinking particularly maybe PB Bantam age and so forth, who were influencers for you, maybe coaches that you had that really influenced your game and your interest in hockey?
Well, for coaches, I had Pee Wee, I was coached by Robbie Barrett, and that was a year that really got me into hockey. And then in Bantam, second year Pee Wee, I was playing in Bantam, and Eric Beesnap was my coach, and he was a really good coach, and that kind of...
Right. Yeah, well, we've had a few people mention Robbie Barrett and the influence he's had on a number of people, and Eric as well. I mean, these are well-known hockey guys in the city, and it's great to see the influence that they've had on people and encourage them to be, to excel and to extend, their abilities and to work their way up through the system. So that's great. So tell me, when you're growing up, what at the NHL level, what teams did you follow?
The Leafs.
The Leafs. Okay. Any particular players that you liked when you were growing up?
I liked Fanoff a lot when I was growing up, but it kind of wore off a bit.
Okay. And just thinking about the NHL just for a second, any particular players that right now that you really like their game and you kind of like to maybe model yourself after a little bit?
I like PK Subban.
Okay. Yeah. Well, PK's at the time we're recording this, he's currently holding out with Montreal. Looks like he's going to sign in the next day or two, from what I've heard today, actually. But obviously, a real talent and real personality as well. So a great one to follow for sure. Okay, Luc, let's talk a little bit about this particular year that you've had now. Let's go back to last summer, because I know that you were over in Europe. You were playing for a Canadian team that played in Austria. What was the tournament, and what was the story on how you got involved with that?
Well, the tournament, it was just they used to do the email around, and there was a tryout camp, but I was away for that, and they were taking a team to Europe in Austria, and it was like a Team Canada selects team. And we went down there. I think there was 4 or 5 teams, like the Czechs and Russians and all those people, and it's pretty much like there wasn't like a finals and stuff. It was just a round robin.
Round robin tournament. Yeah.
Whoever had the most points in the end won.
Okay. Now, what was how did you enjoy that experience? Did you like playing in international hockey?
It was alright. A lot of different systems and stuff and bigger ice, but you had to get used to it.
And you mentioned the bigger ice, and obviously that's one of the huge changes for North Americans going over there playing on the Olympic size ice surface. If you did that all the time, do you think you'd prefer to play on Olympic size, or would you rather be on the NHL size?
It's hard to say. There's better parts of the bigger ice and there's better parts of the smaller ice, so I couldn't really answer that one.
Okay. So that was the Austria experience, and then since then, I mean, obviously you got into playing for the Midget AAA Canadiens as being your third year on the team, and then at Christmas time you got involved with Team Atlantic. And tell me a little bit about that experience. So how did that go?
It was really good. It was nice being with a lot of high caliber players, and it was just a really good experience.
Okay. Now, Luke, tell me when you get invited to one of these, perhaps a tournament like the Austria one or Team Atlantic and so forth, the players are brought together for a very short period of time. Usually, there's not a lot of preparation time for the team itself. So tell us a little bit about what actually happens when you get to when you get to your first day with one of those teams. What do the coaches do to actually bring the team together and get you prepared to play?
There's a lot of team building stuff, getting to know the players, and it's just getting to know each other for the first few days.
Okay, so a lot of it is it's kind of on the fly, getting some experience with the team and finding for maybe the person that you're teamed up with on defense to get to learn their tendencies and the way that they play. Now, is there a particular guy maybe on Team Atlantic or the Austrian team that you were on? The team that went to Austria. Is there a particular defenseman that you like to play with that's not on the Canadiens? Maybe someone else that you've met that you really meshed with well as a defensive pairing?
When I went to Austria, Cameron Liza, I knew him from an all-state camp I was at.
Okay.
And we kind of clicked when we got there, started hanging out. We ended up playing on defense together, and I really liked that.
Okay, nice. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this particular season that the Midgets are having. So this is your third year of the team. How would you compare this year's team with other years' teams? So maybe even like last year's team as an example.
Well, when I affiliated 2 years ago, it was a good team. There was more a couple skilled players that used to score all the goals and stuff in the class year.
Yeah.
We always had a few go-to guys, but this year it's more of a younger team,
Yeah.
just well-rounded, and we don't have any of those guys that just stand out. It's just it's a good team.
So it's a good kind of even the talent spread around. And so, I mean, everything that I've heard so far about this team, it's a very close-knit group. And can you put your finger on what is it about this group of guys that makes them so close together? And is it just maybe that it's a young team?
There's mostly young guys, and they all have been friends. And in the past, there's always a couple of group of older guys, but it's not like that this year. It's pretty much everyone's all together.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? And a lot of these guys have played together in the years leading up to getting to the Midget AAA level, so that would make a lot of sense for sure. Tell me about the Midget AAA league itself. So this is your third year playing in this league. What is it that makes it challenging for you to play in Midget AAA hockey?
It's mostly from being here a while. Everyone knows who you are, and they know how to defend, and just pretty much to keep to contain you and stuff.
Right. Okay. So of the 3 years, has this been the most fun so far?
It's hard to say. I had a lot of fun last year.
So every team's different.
Yeah, this year and last year, it's different kinds of fun.
Okay. Now, how would you describe your game? How would you describe your defensive game for someone that is getting to know the Canadiens a little bit?
Two-way defenseman.
Okay.
I get in the offensive end and I might put the puck in the net once in a while, but in our own end I can still play defense.
Okay. And what kind of things are you working on right now in your game as you kind of prepare for the future?
Well, in the future, the biggest difference is the speed.
Okay.
And so I'm working on skating and foot speed, and it's probably the biggest thing.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about when you get to so let's talk a little about the day of a game and when you come to the rink. What kind of preparation do you go through when you get to the rink, get ready to play for an evening game?
Well, we get to the rink and I pretty much just take a change in my warm-up stuff and take my stick and we go and play a bit of ball game and then have our warm-up and then get in the room, get dressed, go in for warm-up and stuff.
Okay. Any superstitions, any pre-game rituals that you go through?
The only thing I have is after I take my stick, my tape doesn't touch the floor until I get on the ice.
Interesting. That's a great one. Okay. So there's a lot of camaraderie around the team. Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Well, we got a few guys. Most of the guys they're funny, not meaning to sometimes.
Okay.
With the team, you don't want the smartest team around. I'll say that.
Okay.
A lot of characters.
So a lot of characters, a lot of it's just a fun time, a lot of camaraderie, and things happen dynamically, I suppose. So Luke, obviously during the year, you guys are on the ice an awful lot, and there's off-ice training as well. What are you doing in the off season to keep fit and to keep going so that you're ready to play hockey essentially at any time?
This summer I think I'm going away to train.
Okay.
And mostly just training through the week and staying in shape and on the ice once in a while.
Okay, so any other sports that you're involved in, or is it mostly just hockey?
Not anymore. I used to play a bunch of sports, but hockey kind of took over.
Okay. So the training you're doing now is probably hockey-specific training. And, yeah, I mean, you're on the ice a lot, essentially all year round now as well, so it makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's just take a bit of a detour now and talk about off-ice stuff, or not off-ice, but as in fitness, but when you're not at the rink, what kind of interests do you have? So let's talk a little bit about, a day that you have just to kill some time. What do you like to do? What are some of your pastimes?
I like to hang out with buddies and go four-wheeling and fishing and hunting and stuff.
Outdoor stuff? Yeah. Now, your dad's quite an outdoors guy, as I recall, yeah? So you like to fish? Any particular spots you like to go fishing?
We just take the wheeler back in my house and there's spots out there to go fishing. So.
Okay, very neat. Well, we were, I think it was Nick Cass was talking about four-wheeling as well. He loves four-wheeling, so it's a lot of, and of course where we are in New Brunswick, there's lots of places to go four-wheeling, so that's an interesting one for sure. Tell me about school. So where are you going to school?
Leo Hayes.
So you go to Leo Hayes. Now Leo Hayes is playing in the building tonight. Obviously, you know a lot of the guys that will be on that team for sure. So, what's your favorite subject in school?
Hockey class.
Awesome. Now, are you in the program that people come here? I think Coach Allen is involved with it. You're doing that program as well?
Yeah, we're on the ice. It's 3 times a week with Kurt, and we're in the gym 2 times.
Nice. Okay. And least favorite subject?
I don't have a second favorite, so I don't really them all.
Anyway, so the program with Kurt Allen's going really well, and I know I've heard people have a lot of very positive things to say about that as well. So tell me a little bit about any favorite movies that you have.
I like Goon and Project X was a good one I saw in theaters, so those are probably my 2 favorite.
Nice, awesome. Favorite food to eat?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. Any particular place you'd like to have them?
We make them at home a lot.
Okay.
And there's a restaurant top of the hill of my house, so we go there too.
Okay, nice. Chicken wings, that's a good one, for sure. Okay, so maybe just a few more questions here, Luke. We talked a little bit about the season that's going on now. We're not far from the playoffs. And what do you think? What does the team need to do to head into the playoffs on a really positive note and be able to win that first round?
Well, it's not systems anymore because we already know our systems and the coaches can't teach any more of that stuff. So it's all about hard work and if you're dedicated, you can go far.
Okay, nice, very good. Now, any particular goals for the team that they've set, or is it basically you just want to see how far you can go?
Well, we always set goals. We set goals for a lot of things, hockey-wise, and obviously our goal is to win provincials and then win Atlantics. That's everyone's goal.
Okay. All right, very good. Now, Luke, tell me a little bit about your future plans. So the Q draft is coming up. You're hardly touted to be a high draft choice. Do you care where you end up going to play hockey? Or?
I obviously want to stay somewhere closer to home, like not too far away, but you can't really control that. So.
Okay. And what are you planning to do between now and next fall training camp to make sure you're ready to go for your first Q camp?
Just make sure I get 100% on the ice and train hard, and that's all you can do.
Okay, so basically keep on doing what you've been doing for years and see where the chips lie. I'm sure it'll work out well for you. One last question that I can think of, Luke. I got $50,000 in my pocket here. You can go out and spend it on any kind of vehicle you want. What would you like to have?
I'd probably go buy a nice truck that you can take in the woods.
Okay.
Go hunting with it.
All right. Well, that's great. I'm sure you could put a four-wheeler on the back of it, and you could take your fishing rod and off you go. Have a great time. Well, Luke, you've had a great period of time, all the way from Adam up to Midget AAA, and the future looks really bright for you. So congratulations. Best of luck the rest of this season, and we're looking forward to seeing where you end up next fall.